Hello, welcome back to Brunswick Junction. Today I'm going to be discussing the Hornby and Bachmann releases for 2019. So today we're not on the layout for two reasons. Number one, we don't really need to be, and number two, it's extremely messy because of a recent project that I've been doing that's taken all weekend, so you'll see about that in an upcoming video. Anyway, let's get on with the new releases from Hornby and Bachmann in their 2019 ranges. First up, we'll start with the Hornby range, which was released around a week ago. Now, I know a lot of other people have done videos on this, but I thought I'd do one myself to give my own opinion. So, we'll begin with the Hornby diesel locomotives. First up, we've got the BR Blue, BR Green and Network Rail Class 31s. The BR Blue and BR Green locomotives don't have the head code like the majority of Class 31s. They are, I believe, the early versions of the Class 31 were built without the head code. The Network Rail one, however, does have the head code in position above the cab. Moving on then, we've got the Belmond British Pullman liveried Class 67024, which goes well with the set that I'm going to be explaining later in the video. Next up, Hornby have released another sound-fitted loco from the factory, which is DB Cargo UK liveried Class 60044, which is named Dowlow. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. Another freight locomotive that's been very popular this year is the Class 66. Now Hornby have decided to release their own version. This isn't the most detailed tooling as far as I'm aware. You can get better ones from Bachmann, but for modelers starting out, coming in at only £67.50, I believe, for some of these on the Hatton's page. It's a very good locomotive to begin your layout. Now they've released excuse the pun, shed load of new liveries for the Class 66s. They include the BR Green Evening Star 66779, BR Blue Grey 66789, named British Rail 1948 to 1997, the standard EWS 66005, again the standard Deutsche Bahn 66097. They've also gone for the unique livery on 66783, the Flying Dustman. The Biffa liveried is a GBRF locomotive. We've also got GBRF standard liveried 66731, named Interhub GB, and with a special livery including the Union flag on the side. We've got 66705 Golden Jubilee, and to finish off, we've got two other standard liveries with the Freightliner Genesee in Wyoming 66413 and the Colas 66847. Now, as with most people, I think the Colas livery looks very smart on most locomotives. The 66 isn't personally my favourite for it. I really like the 37s, but that's a good range of 66s they've got there for the modeler who wants a cheaper locomotive. Moving on to the HSTs, we've got a very good range of new HST sets coming out. They're releasing the LNER liveried 43315 and 43309, and with those they've got a whole range of the red and white Mark IIIs coming out, so you can make that perfect HST set. They've also got another 3 liveries on some HSTs with some rather special coaches. The new liveries in this case are GWR 43016 and 43093. The latter of these is in a special commemorative Old Oak Common livery, which will should make an interesting change for some people's layouts. I'm pretty sure they've already got the Welshman livery on one of them. So that's just another special livery to add to the GWR range of HSTs. The ScotRail 7 Cities units, which I believe still haven't entered service. They've got 43033 and 43183. And finally the cross country 43285 and 43304. So that's a return to the range for cross country, which I don't believe we've seen a cross country HST in model form for quite a few years now. Now these do come in at, I think it's around £260 for the pair, but they do have a TTS sound double pack for the HSTs, coming in at £60, meaning you can get a dual HST with sound for just over £300, which with current prices that's not too bad. But to go with these HSTs, we've got a very exciting Mark IIIs with sliding doors, which all of the HSTs are being modified to have because of the DDA, Disability Discrimination Act requirements coming in. I'm pretty sure it's 2020. So yeah, we've got sliding door coaches for the Great Western, ScotRail and Cross Country HSTs, which would make a very interesting addition to anyone who's modelling right now, up to date, or even sometime in the future, because I'm sure they'll keep some of those HSTs going for a while to come. Moving on to the electric locomotives then, we've got a couple of new liveries coming out this year. I think it was last year they released the very popular Class 87, may have been between then and now, but they've got one of these coming out in Caledonian Sleeper livery, which is 87002 Royal Sovereign. Now this is a locomotive still used on shunting and ECS moves for the Caledonian Sleeper coaches coming out of London Euston, or coming into London Euston, taking them back to the depot. So for anyone modelling a modern image London area layout, that's a must-have if you've got some sleeper coaches. Much more common than the Class 87 though, currently on the network, is the Class 92. They're still not overly common, but you can see a few about if you look hard enough. I've got a Rail Freight Grey liveried one with EWS logos, but this year in the range are Deutsche Bahn, GBRF, and, excitingly, a Caledonian Sleeper Class 92. So if you can get your hands on some sleeper coaches, it would go very well behind a Class 92 pulling into a mainline station, and then the Class 87 shunting them back out to go to the depot. That would be a lovely little setup for anyone who's interested. So next we've got the steam locomotives. We'll start with Flying Scotsman. Most people would associate either being in an LNER apple green or a BR Brunswick green livery, but Hornby this year are releasing it in a livery you wouldn't associate as much with the Flying Scotsman, that is BR Blue. So that's an interesting livery for Hornby to release it in. But another more interesting than that, is the condition it was in for its 1969 tour of the USA, which is LNER green, but as you'd expect, over there are fewer water towers and coal stations and places like that. So this has got a dual tender, and it comes in at just over £230. So for that, surely you'd be expecting, I don't know, something gold-plated. Well, this locomotive, the wheels on it are, I believe, gold-plated. So it would make a lovely centrepiece for your layout if you're modelling steam era, or even if you're modelling the USA. If it went on a tour of the USA, that would be an interesting thing to have on your layout. Yeah, so that's a different, some different liveries for the Flying Scotsman. Another dual tender locomotive that they've announced is an A4 Bittern in LNER blue. Now this also has 2 tenders in this form. It was preserved, as far as I'm aware, it was preserved in with 2 tenders for a while. I don't think it's like that at the moment, but so that's another interesting steam loco. And the second A4 that they're announcing this year is Walter K. Wigham in a BR Experimental Purple livery. This is numbered 60028. And I've never seen the BR Purple livery before this, personally. So it's an interesting thing for Hornby to do. I think it was when BR were experimenting to find out which livery would work best. Next, then, another express locomotive, the LMS Coronation Blue liveried streamlined coronation, named Princess Alexandra. Now, this is a newly tooled version. I've got a Duchess loco, Duchess of Gloucester. This is basically a newly tooled version of this, but obviously this LMS one is in blue livery. To go with it as well, they've got a pack of 3 railroad coaches coming in at £60, so it's really not bad. That it makes a lovely set, a streamlined coronation and the Coronation Scott coach pack. So now we're going to go a little bit smaller. We're going to go down to the large prairies, which have been recently announced. Again, a new tooling in BR Black, BR Green and GWR Green liveries. I'm looking at these thinking about them, as they're very nice little locos, and they are releasing 5101 and the 61XX classes of large prairies. So for any GWR or Western Region modelers, that would make a very nice addition to the layout. Now onto something a little smaller, and the release that I'm probably most interested in from Hornby and Bachmann this year. They've released a retooled A1X Terrier in 6 different liveries. Now we've got the 2 BR Black, the early and late crests and emblems, London Brighton and South Coast Railway livery for the well-known locomotive named Stepney, Kent and East Sussex blue for Rolvenden, the very attractive, I must say, SECR livery, but the one that I'm personally most interested in is the olive green of Southern. All of these locomotives are slightly different variations, but my personal favourite is the Southern olive green locomotive. They've modelled 2662, which is currently based at the Bressingham Steam Railway in Diss near Norwich, and it's currently named Martello. It's visiting the Nene Valley Railway, as far as I'm aware, in March, so it can be seen at quite a few heritage lines across the country, and that's why I've decided to pre-order 2662 in Southern olive green livery. Now that's coming out in May, so that'll make a good birthday present for me. So expect to see that on the layout at some point soon. Okay, so now we're going to go on to something a little less exciting, but it's still just as interesting. We've got a J83 in the railroad range, which I have one of from the mixed freight set. Mine's in BR Black. This is being released in the rather bright LNER green livery. So that will make a good little steam loco for any younger modelers or people just getting into the hobby. Even smaller still, they're releasing their new 060 Peckets. Now this is following on from the very successful 040 Peckets that were released a year or 2 ago now. They've got 3 new liveries for the 040s, and also 3 liveries for the slightly larger 060s. They're still tiny little locomotives, And then finally to what I think is the smallest loco, the BR Black and the LMS liveried tiny 040 Class 21 Pug locomotives. They haven't been in the range for quite a while now. So that's the steam locomotives. There's another locomotive that I would like to give special mention to, which is the tiny little Ruston Shunter that everyone's been talking about, and it comes with a little wagon, which I'm pretty sure is to help over points, because the loco is so small it wouldn't keep power or anything. From what I've heard, it's only 2 inches long, so they've got a tiny little. They've got a motor and everything into 2 inches, which is a really impressive feat there by Hornby. Now for some slightly different things. For me, personally, very interested in the new sound decoders for the classes 08 and class 50 locomotives that are being released at some point this year. I'll probably be fitting my 50 with one of these new sound chips, and I may attempt to get it into my class 08. And with the lemur tooling from the 70s and 80s, we've got the GWR HST set for younger modelers. This is very, very definitely a train set, obviously, but it's interesting to see that Hornby are bringing back some old toolings for the train set uses, which I think is a good way to get some younger people into the hobby. And this set analogue comes in at just over £100, so it's not too bad. Now then, on to the train packs and multiple units. We'll start off with the, again, lemur tooling GWR AEC Railcar number 24 that's being released at about £50. So this would make a good addition to any layout modelling Great Western, or any smaller layout really with the need for a very small train. This is a single coach, as you can see. The other DMU that's been announced is the new Northern RAF commemorative liveried Sprinter 156480. So that's a welcome addition. It's comes in at 120 odd quid for any people modelling up north. That would be a good thing to have in your layout. So we've had the test train power cars for the Class 800 IEP. We've also had the GWR liveried version. And now, as you would have guessed, comes the LNER Azuma. Hornby have announced their 5-car pack for this is coming out at some point in 2019. So for any East Coast, Express, whatever modelers, you probably want to get your hands on one of them. Again, for up north, we've got the Northern Bell set with 57601 Windsor Castle and 3 Mark II Northern Bell liveried coaches. This is a premium dining service that runs around the north of England, serving food and drink and things to people who are willing to shell out rather a lot of money. But it can be seen around most places in the north of England, as can in the south the Belmont British Pullman, which is being recreated with the specially liveried 67021 and 3 standard Pullman coaches. This is a set that I would really like to get my hands on soon, since I model somewhere down south. As I previously said, they've already released their power cars for the test train Class 800 IEP, and as a welcome relief to most people who bought that pack, they've released the coach pack for the three intermediate coaches, bringing it up to a 5-coach set. Personally, I don't think these look very interesting. They're just very bland white coaches, so what you're seeing on your screen now probably won't mean much to you, and not many people will get this unless they've already got the power cars to go either end. So recently Bachmann have released their Aircon Mark II coaches, but they're around £70 for a DCC fitted version, or £55 for a analogue version. But Hornby have come in and they've made some Mark II Fs in BR Blue Grey and Intercity liveries, and they're undercutting Bachmann by a good £20-30. They're coming in at somewhere around £30-35, I think, for these coaches. So some welcome competition there. I'm not sure if they'll be as detailed as I've heard the Bachmann versions are, but it's a very big price difference. And finally, for the Hornby releases, another thing that I'm rather excited about, I'm afraid to say my wallet will not enjoy this year. We've got some Network Rail Mark IIs, which have been extremely highly requested by so many people. But they've finally come out with a radio survey test train and a plain line pattern recognition vehicle coaches for a Network Rail train, which there's only 2 of them at the moment, but I think I'll have to pick them up at some point this year. I don't believe they're being released until November, so that might be something for 2020 for me. But they go everywhere. They're really, everyone needs them, and they've finally released them properly, so you don't have to do repaints or things like that. So that's a very welcome addition to the range. Right, that's Hornby. Now let's have a look at the Bachmann 2019, and